Last summer, my friends and I rented a cabin in West Virginia, just for a weekend. There were 5 of us. Me, my best friend Chloe, her boyfriend Tom, and our friends Ben and Sarah. We were all 17. We wanted to get away, have some fun. The cabin was deep in the woods, miles from anything. The owner was a strange old man. He met us at the start of the dirt road. His eyes were milky white. One of his hands was missing 2 fingers. He leaned against a rusty truck that looked like it hadn't moved in years. "Don't wander off," he warned us, his voice a dry rasp. "Lots of strange things in these woods, things that get hungry." He gave a dry, rattling laugh that showed yellow teeth. "And stay out of the basement. The door is locked for a reason." He handed us a single, tarnished brass key. The cabin was old and run down. It smelled like dust and damp earth. There were strange, dark stains on the floorboards that looked like old blood. The walls were covered in long, deep scratches like an animal had been trapped inside. The basement door, just as he'd said, was secured with a heavy, rusty padlock. A faint, sweet, rotting smell came from under it, but it was cheap, and we were excited. We spent the first day swimming in the nearby lake. That night, we built a bonfire. We told ghost stories. We drank a little. The woods around us were completely silent. No crickets, no frogs, just silence. It was around midnight when we went inside. I was tired. I went to my room. It had a big window that faced the woods. I was about to close the curtains when I saw him. A man, standing at the edge of the trees. He was tall and gaunt. His clothes were ragged. He was just watching the cabin, rocking back and forth slightly. He raised one hand and beckoned to me, a slow, curling motion with a single finger. I felt a shiver of fear. I told my friends. We all looked out the window. He was gone. They told me I was just spooked from the ghost stories. They said the old man was just trying to scare us. We all went to bed. I woke up in the middle of the night. I heard a noise, a scratching sound. It was coming from the kitchen. I crept out of my room. My friends were all asleep. The air was cold. I tiptoed to the kitchen, and I saw him, the man from the woods. He was inside the cabin. He was standing in front of the fridge. The door was open, its light casting a sickly glow on him. His back was to me. He was making a strange, gurgling sound as he ate raw meat from a package with his bare hands. I saw that his fingernails were long and yellow, caked with dirt. He turned his head slowly, so slowly. His neck cracked loudly in the quiet room. He looked at me. His eyes were completely black, oily pits. I screamed. My friends woke up. They came running. The man didn't move. He just stared at us, a piece of raw meat hanging from his lips. Tom, who was the bravest of us, yelled at him to get out. The man just smiled. A slow, cold smile that didn't reach his dead eyes. It was a smile of ownership, like we were the intruders. Then he walked towards us. He didn't rush. He took his time. We all ran. We locked ourselves in one of the bedrooms. We pushed a heavy dresser against the door. The lights in the cabin flickered, then went out. We were plunged into total darkness. We could hear him walking around the cabin. He wasn't just walking. He was dragging something heavy across the floor. He started humming a tune, a creepy, out-of-key nursery rhyme. Then came the scratching at the door, not frantic, slow, and deliberate. Scrape, scrape, scrape. He started whispering our names. He knew all of our names. He whispered things about us, fears we had never told anyone. He whispered Sarah's fear of spiders. He whispered Ben's secret about his family. Each word cracked like a dying fire right against the door. Then the whispering turned to laughter, a high, unhinged cackle. We stayed in that room until the sun came up. The sounds eventually stopped. When we finally came out, he was gone, but the cabin was destroyed. All of our food was smeared on the walls in strange spiral patterns. He had taken our photos from our bags and arranged them in a circle on the floor. In the middle of the circle was a single, tarnished brass key. Our key. But the front door was still locked from the inside. The windows were all latched. There was no way out, no way in, except for the basement door. The padlock was gone. The door was slightly ajar. A terrible smell wafted out. We didn't look. We packed our things and left through a window. We never went back. We never told anyone what happened. Who would believe us? But we all know what we saw, and we all still have nightmares about those black, empty eyes. A week later, a photo arrived in Chloe's mailbox of us, asleep in that cabin. When I was 14, my family moved to rural Oregon. Our new house was in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by a thick, dark forest. It was my parents' dream home. It was my nightmare. The house was huge and isolated. No neighbors for miles, just trees and silence. One night, my parents went out. I was home alone. I decided to watch a scary movie, a classic slasher film. Big mistake. Halfway through the movie, I felt it. A cold, prickling sensation on the back of my neck. The feeling of being watched. I paused the movie. I looked at the large window in the living room. It was a black mirror reflecting the room. I saw nothing. But the feeling wouldn't go away. I tried to ignore it. I finished the movie. It was late. I went to lock up the house. I walked past the sliding glass door in the kitchen, and I saw him. A man standing in the backyard. He was just staring at the house. He had a wide, unnatural smile on his face. His eyes were dark and empty. He held a long hunting knife in his hand. Dirt was caked under his fingernails. I froze. I couldn't breathe. He just stood there, smiling. He slowly raised the knife. He tapped it on the glass. A soft, rhythmic sound. A sound that meant he knew I saw him. A sound that meant he wanted me to see him. I backed away slowly. I ran upstairs to my room. I locked the door. I called the police. They came. They searched the woods. They found nothing. No footprints, no sign of anyone. They told me I probably imagined it. But I knew what I saw. The tapping started the next night. A soft tap, tap, tap on my bedroom window. I was on the second floor. I looked out. He was there, standing in the yard, looking up at me. His smile was waxy, unnatural, like a doll's face came to life. This went on for weeks. The tapping, the smiling man. He started leaving me things. A dead squirrel on the doorstep. A bundle of sticks tied together with twine, shaped like a person, hanging from a tree branch. Little gifts, just for me. One morning, a small dead bird was lying on my windowsill. Its wings were spread out perfectly, as if it were a display. Sometimes I would see him in the woods during the day. A flicker of movement between the trees. Just watching the house. I told my parents. They didn't believe me. They thought I was making it up. They told me I was stressed from the move. I stopped sleeping. I would sit by my window all night, just watching the tree line, waiting. I jumped at every sound. The house creaking, the wind howled. My grades at school started to drop. My parents grew frustrated. They told me I needed to stop this nonsense. I felt completely alone. I started to think I was going crazy. Maybe they were right. Maybe he wasn't real. One night, I woke up to a loud crash. I grabbed the baseball bat I kept by my bed. My hands were slick with sweat. I crept downstairs. The front door was wide open. A cold wind blew through the house, making the curtains dance like ghosts. And standing in the middle of the living room was the smiling man. He was even scarier up close. He was covered in mud and leaves. He smelled like wet dirt and something rotten. His clothes were torn and filthy. His smile was wider than ever. It stretched his face into a terrifying mask. His dark eyes didn't blink. They were fixed on me. He tilted his head to the side, like a curious animal. He took a slow step towards me. The floorboards creaked under his weight. He didn't make a sound. He just breathed. A slow, raspy sound. He opened his mouth. A low, guttural whisper came out. It sounded like my name. I screamed. It was a raw, terrified sound. I ran back to my room. I slammed the door shut and barricaded it with my dresser. He didn't follow. I heard him laugh. A low, hollow sound that echoed through the empty house. It was the sound of pure evil. When the police came, he was gone. We moved out a week later. I still have nightmares about that smile. And I still hear that whisper in the dark. I was 10 years old when my parents left me home alone for the first time. Our town in Ohio was sleepy and safe. Nothing bad ever happened. My parents trusted me. It was a Saturday night. They went out with friends. I had money for a large pepperoni pizza from Antonio's. It was my favorite. I was excited. Video games and pizza all night. A perfect night for a kid. I played my video game for hours. A cool sci-fi shooter on my old console. My stomach started to rumble. It was time for pizza. I called Antonio's. I waited. The doorbell finally rang. I grabbed the cash from the counter. I ran to the door. The delivery driver was a tall, thin man. He had a strange look in his eyes. His beard was long and stringy. He wore a dirty baseball cap. I gave him the money. He handed me the warm pizza box. He leaned in close. His eyes looked past me, into my house. "You all by yourself, kid?" he whispered. His voice was like sandpaper. Fearful, a chill went down my spine. I lied. "My uncle's a cop. He's in the living room," I said. It was a stupid lie. There were no cars in the driveway. He just stared for a second. Then he gave me my change and left. I locked the door behind him. I felt uneasy. I ate my pizza in the kitchen. I watched TV. The sun went down. The house got dark. It was late, maybe 11 p.m. The doorbell rang again. I thought it was my parents. I ran to the door. "Mom? Dad?" I called out. A strange man's voice answered, low, strained. "I need some help," he said. "My car broke down. Can I step in and use your phone? Won't take long." I froze. "Who is this?" I asked, my voice shaking. He just repeated himself. I knew I shouldn't open the door. I backed away slowly. Suddenly he banged on the door, hard, yelling, aggressive. "I see you in there," he yelled. "Let me in." I saw his face through the small window in the door. It was the pizza guy. His eyes were wide and crazy. I screamed. I ran upstairs to my parents' room. I locked the door. I slid under the bed. My heart was a drum in my chest. I tried to make myself small. I held my breath. Then I heard glass shatter downstairs. He was in the house. Silence followed the crash. It was worse than the noise. I could hear my own blood pounding in my ears. Every house creak was him. Every shadow was his shape. He drifted, unhurried, like a shadow with purpose. I heard him open the fridge. The light cut a path into the dark hall. I saw his shadow move past the door. He was exploring, taking his time. A drawer opened, then slammed shut. My body trembled. I clamped my hand over my mouth to keep from crying out. I could hear his footsteps, slow, heavy, coming closer. He was walking up the stairs. Each step was a lifetime. He was taking his time. He was enjoying this. I squeezed my eyes shut. I prayed he would think no one was home, that I had run out the back door. The footsteps stopped right outside my door. The silence returned. It stretched for an eternity. I could smell stale cigarette smoke. He was right there. I watched a dark shape pass under the crack of the door. The doorknob rattled, gently at first, then harder. He pushed his weight against the door. The wood frame groaned. It was hell. He knocked lightly, a soft, creepy knock. Tap, tap, tap. It was a playful sound, a terrifying game. He knew I was in there. Then silence again. A long, heavy quiet. I strained my ears. I heard him walk away, down the stairs, and out of the house. I stayed under the bed until I saw the flashing red and blue lights of the police car paint the walls. They found the broken window in the kitchen. He was gone. I never saw him again. But sometimes, when I'm alone, in the dark, I can still hear that soft, creepy knock on the door. I can still smell the smoke. The pizza man left something behind, a single cigarette, still warm, on the kitchen counter.